Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating shift that's happening across business tech right now. It's an idea called the Great Decoupling. We're talking about a massive strategic move away from endlessly renting SaaS and moving toward actually owning your infrastructure. If you've ever felt like your software bills just keep climbing and climbing while the features stay exactly the same, well, this strategy might completely change how you view your entire tech stack. $5 million. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. That is the estimated 5-year total cost of ownership for just 300 Salesforce users on an enterprise plan. When you run into a staggering figure like that, you really have to stop and ask, are we actually getting $5 million worth of value out of this, or are we just trapped in a subscription model we can't escape? And that brings us perfectly to Section 1, the hidden SaaS cost trap, also known as the success tax. So here's the fundamental flaw of the per-seat model. As your company grows, your costs skyrocket. And it's not because you're getting brilliant new features. It's literally just because you hired more people. You might think that $175 per user monthly license fee is the whole story, right? But actually, licensing only accounts for about 30 to 40% of the total bill. There are these hidden drains quietly eating up your budget, things like needing a dedicated admin team, paying for expensive App Exchange integrations, and keeping up with continuous release support. Let's move on to Section 2, reclaiming core CRM data and finding the break-even point. Once you realize just how much capital is leaking out of your business, you have to wonder, when does it actually make financial sense to ditch the SaaS model entirely and host a custom open-source CRM like 20CRM? It's really just a rent versus own analogy. With an OPEX model like Salesforce, you rent the platform, and your costs scale endlessly with your headcount. But with a CapEx model for a custom CRM, you make a one-time investment upfront with predictable maintenance afterward. For companies hitting that 150 to 300 user mark, the math completely flips. We're talking about saving roughly $2 million over 5 years. Plus, you get the absolute guarantee of true data sovereignty. You own it. Which leads us to Section 3, open source peripheral tools or escaping secondary subscriptions. Because let's be honest, it's not just the core CRM that's driving up costs, is it? It's that massive web of peripheral tools we use every single day. Take form builders, for example. A tool like Typeform offers a pretty meager 10 free responses a month, and then boom, hits you with $56 a month just to get 1,000 responses. But contrast that with an open source alternative like Formbricks. They give you 1,000 responses for free right out of the gate, or you can use their entirely free self-hosted community edition that comes with unlimited team members. It completely wipes out that collaboration tax. And we see this exact same trap in workflow automation. Look at NN's Cloud Starter Plan. It caps you at 2,500 executions for $24 a month. Now compare that to self-hosting NN on the virtual private server, which only costs roughly $5 a month. The cloud limits are honestly shockingly restrictive. I mean, if you have just one simple webhook workflow triggering every 5 minutes, you'll literally burn through that Cloud Starter Plan limit in just 9 days. Self-hosting removes those execution caps entirely. So if you're ready to self-host, how do you choose the right automation tool? Well, it mostly comes down to your team's technical skill. NNN is an absolute powerhouse with its node-heavy canvas, but it does demand a bit more technical familiarity, and it requires you to bring your own API keys for AI features. Active Pieces, on the other hand, is uniquely designed for pure speed and clarity. It has a super clean step-based UI, and get this, it features native built-in AI steps that don't even require external API keys. It's a real game changer for rapid onboarding. Now let's dive into Section 4, powering local AI hardware, the AI engine room. Okay, so now that we've reclaimed our data and our workflows, how do we add intelligence back into the mix without just sending all our newly sovereign data right back to the public clouds? The answer is local AI hardware. And we're really looking at a clash of two entirely different philosophies here. On one side, you have the brute force of the NVIDIA RTX 5090, this massive 725-watt powerhouse packing 32 gigabytes of ultra-fast memory. And on the opposing side, Apple's Mac Studio M4 Max. It's compact, it's nearly silent, and it boasts a massive 128 gigabytes of memory. Choosing between them really comes down to a trade-off between raw speed and memory capacity. For a model like Llama 3, the 8 billion parameter version, the RTX 5090 pushes out roughly 95 tokens per second. It just completely crushes the Mac Studio, which sits around 35 to 40 tokens per second. Bottom line, If your AI model fits entirely inside 32 gigabytes of VRAM, that NVIDIA card is going to generate text 2 to 3 times faster, no question. But the Mac Studio is playing a totally different game, and it's all thanks to something called unified memory. Because Apple's architecture allows the GPU to pool all 128 gigabytes of system RAM, it is currently the only sub-$5,000 machine that is capable of running massive 70 billion parameter models at full precision without crashing. So, if you need to run giant models locally, Apple simply wins on sheer capacity. All right, let's tie this together in Section 5, connecting AI with MCP, or the magic bridge. So think about it. We have our self-hosted CRM, and we have our local AI hardware humming away right on our desk. But how do we actually get them to talk to each other securely? As Anthropic so perfectly summarized it, AI has traditionally been trapped behind information silos and legacy systems. Until very recently, AI models were brilliantly smart but completely isolated. They couldn't read your live business data, let alone actually take action on it. Enter the ultimate breakthrough, MCP, or the Model Context Protocol. The easiest way to think about MCP is like a universal USB-C port for AI. It's an open standard that securely connects your AI models to external data and tools. This is what allows your local hardware to finally speak directly to your self-hosted infrastructure. And in practice, this connection is just incredibly powerful. By using the open-source 20 CRM MCP server, your AI suddenly gets handed a comprehensive toolkit. It can read records, schedule tasks, search your metadata, you name it. Your AI literally transforms from a passive, isolated chatbot into an active sales assistant that can pull up recent client notes and draft follow-up emails, all directly from your self-hosted database. It is truly incredible to see in action. Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, the Great Decoupling Strategy, putting it all together. We have covered a lot of ground today, so let's distill all of this into a clear, actionable playbook. Step 1, audit your SaaS costs. Find out exactly what that success tax is really costing your business. Step 2, self-host your peripheral tools. Move over to platforms like Formbricks and ActivePieces to finally cut those secondary subscriptions. Step 3, migrate your core data to a platform like 20CRM so you can achieve true data sovereignty. And finally, Step 4, deploy local AI hardware via MCP, giving your own data privacy-first intelligence. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Are you renting your business operations, or are you ready to own them? It is time to seriously question those endless software dependencies and start building your own sovereign, intelligent tech stack. I really hope this explainer empowered you with the knowledge to start that journey. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep exploring.